Real Heroes Don't Wear Capes by Laura Driscoll. 48, 49, 50. My friend Ben keeps count while I bounce on my pogo stick. 50 bounces? That's the most I've ever done. My little brother Dex cheers me on. Ethan, go for 60. But on 56, I lost my balance and I hop off. 56, I yell. That's my new record. I've been working on my bounce record for a whole week. Ever since I got my new pogo stick, bouncing makes me feel like I'm walking on the moon. I could bounce all day. But Dex wants to try, so I help him climb on. Meanwhile, I fill Ben in on some pogo stick trivia. Did you know that in the 1960s you could buy a pogo stick with a motor? I tell Ben, it could bounce 12 feet in the air. Ben laughs. Ethan, how do you fit so many weird facts in your brain? Okay, so I'm a trivia nut. But you wouldn't believe the cool stuff most people don't know. Did you know that the longest piece of pasta ever made was 418 feet from end to end? I asked the cafeteria lady. She's speechless. Did you know that scientists found a 160 million-year-old fossil of dinosaur vomit? I tell Cindy Lopez on our field trip. I'm not sure she's listening, though, because she looks kind of pale, like she doesn't feel well. Did you know that Thomas Edison didn't like to go to sleep either? I say to Dex, who is too wound up at bedtime. Come on, I'll read to you about pogo sticks. I've taken out every book in the library on pogo sticks. I've already read The Ups and Downs of Pogo Sticking and It's a Spring Thing. Tonight, I open Pogo Mania, and that's when I see it. Hey, Dex, I say, this guy was from Plainville, from our town. I flip the page. It says here that Boeing Bower bounced 3,000 miles through wind and rain and snow, over mountains and across deserts. I tell Dex, it took him 6 months to do it. What a hero! Dex's eyes got big. Wow, can we meet him? I wish we could, I say. I explain about how Boeing lived a long life in Plainville, but that he died in 1970. Dex finally falls asleep, and I curl up in bed, wondering why I've never heard of Boeing Bower. I'll bet nobody else in Plainville has either. That night, I dream that Boeing and I are bouncing across the country. We bounce 100, 1,000, a million times. We keep bouncing until I lose count. I wake up wanting to tell the whole world about Boeing Bower, so I start at the bus stop. What strength, I say. What balance. He's a pogo stick hero. Hero? Kenny Spivey snorts. Did he have a rocket-powered pogo stick and a cool cape? Kenny, says Ben, I think Ethan means a real-life hero, not a superhero. Cindy Lopez pops her gum. If he's a real hero, does he have a holiday name for him like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. does? Or a statue like Abraham Lincoln's in the Lincoln Memorial? Said Kenny. Or maybe there's stuff about him in the museum, said Ben, trying to be helpful, like Jackie Robinson in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I didn't know what to say. I don't think Boeing Bower has a holiday, a statue, or a spot in the museum, but he should. In a little town like Plainville, we don't have many heroes. So I decide to write up a petition. Maybe if lots of kids sign it, Plainville will have a new holiday. Boeing Bower Day. At recess the next day, I hang up a poster and I wait for kids to come over. But everyone seems more interested in kickball. How can I get their attention? Then it hits me. Trivia. Hey! I call out. Did you know that the longest attack of hiccups lasted 68 years? Nobody seems to care, except one little kid. I know that word, she says. Hero. Hero. I have a hero. Is it Boeing Bower? I ask. Huh? She says. No, it's Mrs. Lipton, my teacher. I was sick all last week and she came to help me with my reading every day after school. I smiled. That's great, but do you want to sign my petition? I want to start a holiday for... The little girl's eyes started to light up. Great idea. She takes the clipboard. Hey, everybody, she calls out. Who thinks there should be a holiday called Mrs. Lipton Day? Lots of kids come over. We do, they say. Before I know it, my Boeing Bower Day petition has become a Mrs. Lipton Day petition. I decide to try something new. Did you know that most Americans eat more than 50 tons of food in their lives? That means supermarkets are busy places. I set up a table outside a super shop and save. Maybe I can raise enough money for a Boeing Bower statue. Excuse me, I say to one lady. Want to help me honor a Plainville hero? She smiles. All right, I'd like to honor my neighbor, Mr. Mott. He mows my lawn and cleans my gutters, and he won't take a penny for it. I explain about Boeing Bower and the statue I want to build. Boeing who? She says. Everywhere I go, it's the same. No one wants to know about my hero. They all want to tell me about their heroes. At swim lessons, my instructor, Padma, asks about the t-shirt I made. I tell her about Boeing. Then she tells me all about her cousin Vijay. He took me snorkeling in Blue Lake to help me get over my fear of deep water, Padma said. After Dex's soccer game, I pass out some Boeing buttons. I tell Dex's coach, Mr. Neely, about Boeing, and he tells me about his hero, his dad, who worked 3 jobs so that Mr. Neely could go to college. My next idea is to make Build It for Boeing signs. I let Dex color in the letters. But even at home, I hear about other people's heroes. Mom looks at my signs and she smiles. Ethan, you remind me of Mr. Cho, she says. You know the lady, Mrs. Cho, she says. Do you know the lady who saved the old firehouse from being torn down? You're trying to save Plainville history just like she did. I know my mom is trying to be nice, but this isn't about Mrs. Cho. It's about Mrs. Lipton, Mr. Neely's dad, Padma's swim teacher, or that supermarket lady's neighbor. I bet they are all great people, but this is about Boeing Bower. I want everyone to know what a big hero he is. I try to cheer up by looking for more Boeing Bower trivia. I flip through far out first until I spot a photo of him. And there's a caption, too. Unbelievable, I say. He was daring, determined, a great pogo sticker, and he didn't even do it for himself. He bounced through the rain and the snow and the desert to help other people. Boeing is even a bigger hero than I thought. In 1922, Boyd Bower pogo-sticked across the country and won the world's wackiest stunt contest. He gave all of his prize money, $5,000, to help build Plainville School. I wasn't sure I'd make it, said Bower, but folks back home needed money. That's what kept me bouncing. But wait a minute. I think back to what everyone said about their heroes. First, they all worked hard to do something great for somebody else, just like Boeing Bower did. Second, none of them are famous. There is no holiday for Mr. Neely's dad. There's no statue of Padma's cousin. And I'll bet Mrs. Chow isn't even in the museum. But maybe she could be. Maybe they all could be. I forgot the Boeing statue. Now I want to build something else. I won't need any money, but I'm going to need help from my mom, from Mr. Neely, from Padma, and from lots of other people too. It isn't long before the Plainville Hero Museum is open for business. In my garage. What gave you this idea to do this? The Plainville news reporter asked me. Well, I replied, it all started with a pogo sticker named Boeing Bower. Just as the reporter takes my picture, Dex tugs on my shirt. Ethan, can my hero be in the museum? He asks me. Sure, I tell him. Who is it? Dex smiles and said, guess. Okay, I said, scratching my head. But this is one piece of trivia I don't think I know. It's you, said Dex. You let me bounce on your pogo stick even when you wanted to. You gave me piggyback rides even when you were tired. You read to me at my bedtime. You never miss my soccer games, and you do lots of nice stuff for me. Wow, me? A hero? I don't know what to think, but I'm happy that Dex sees me that way. And I look around. Lots of other people look happy too. Happy to tell the town about their heroes. Okay, so Plainville might have been a Boeing Bower holiday, never have a Boeing Bower holiday, or a monument, or a museum, but it does have a hero museum and a whole lot of heroes.